welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A happy Friday to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Right now, it's snowy savings, 4 weeks free, plus free cancellation. Sentinel.ca for more information. We got a full house today. Tom Gazzola, Marc Majeau, MCTV podcast, Jay Milne, Matt Iwanyk with you here, and the CFL tampering window has joined us.
That was Dave that brought it in from Nisku Glass?
Dave from Nisku Glass. We will bring in
Thanks,
the
Nick.
tampering window at some point.
And Nick gave me a nice sweet
hat.
hat from Grizzly Paw. Good to have him in. Yeah, it is. That's a sick hat, actually.
Why do you get the hat?
I kind of asked for him.
Or closest to the door, possibly.
And he made an offer, and I was like, I can't say no to that. That's sick. That is a nice hat.
Good looking lid.
That is well curved. Sorry, Matthew.
No, that's fine. I was just introducing the CFL window. We will get to the tampering window later.
So much is going on.
There's a lot
here
happening
today.
this morning.
It's a wonderful
There's a lot
Friday.
happening this morning.
Bones is here.
Bones brought in garlic and
Was that what he
honey.
brought? Oh.
And it's so weird because last night, all right, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here.
Cool.
I make my own granola bars for my girls.
Cool.
I've seen you
lunch.
put up videos of this.
Yeah, and just because it's so much better than what you can buy prepackaged. And I'm not like crazy over the top with that stuff, but this in particular, they eat a lot of it, and there's a lot of good ingredients in there. So then last night, my daughter said that she saw one of her friends that had like a protein ball. They call it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
And I'm
those
like, that's like my granola bars, but it's in a ball shape. And she's like, can you do that? I'm like, can I do
Challenge the
that?
glue guy.
Are you
that.
questioning glue guy?
Is this a question? So I whipped up 2 batches.
Yeah.
Boom. They got protein balls in their lunch now. But it uses an incredible amount of honey to make this recipe. Not an incredible amount. That's probably the wrong word, but
Significant.
more than you'd think, because it's a bit of a binder.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through a lot of honey last night, and here I show up, and Bones knows a guy who makes his own honey, and I think it's even on Bones' land that he just leases the hive space to this fella, and he provides him with honey. So he dropped off real local out of the Beaumont area honey. So I said, this is almost too good to be true, because I just depleted all our resources of honey last night making protein balls. And here you're blessing us with fresh honey
From Alberta.
Sometimes, sometimes you got to ask,
Simulation.
who's looking out for you?
I go with simulation.
Manifest.
Yes.
Somebody's on that computer messing with things like we're in The Sims and all that.
Well, then I've done something good, because I got simulated with a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
you
I
did.
did the round of clicks earlier. I just want to say
We
it
did
was
round of
not for
clicks?
me. I did quickly, because when you introduced Nash, I thought we should give him a round of clicks.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful, strapping young lad.
I appreciate
and
it.
I love his hat.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably the hat.
It is.
I think
It's a
you're
hat.
going towards the hat.
I'm wearing it today as more of an anti-Ohio State
I like it.
sentiment.
I
but
respect that.
I'm all
That's
anti Ohio State, because I
Who
put
likes Ohio State?
I put a little wager on
No.
a future on Texas. I know.
How long ago?
Long enough.
Okay.
Like you didn't do this recently.
No.
Because Texas does not look like they're going to beat Ohio State, and Ohio State looks too good.
Well, you know what? They said the same thing about Penn State or Notre Dame last night, and Notre Dame came out on top.
Wait, who said the same thing?
The odds.
The odds were, it was like a 2.5 point. One nice point I
So
saw
one
Notre
point, I
Dame
think, a
was
kickoff.
favored.
Yeah, it went
And
back
Notre
and
Dame
forth.
had like a flu go through their
Yeah,
locker room.
but
Did
Penn
you hear about
State, James Franklin is not. Michelle and I were talking
Yeah.
about before the show. He has a terrible record against top teams. I don't, and nothing I saw from Penn State, I saw a juggernaut. Like when Ohio State took down Oregon, I was watching with my dad and my brother. I'm like, there's no one stopping Ohio State.
And not only did they beat them down. Like that was not a close game.
It was done after the first
Yeah.
quarter.
It was a beat 'em
I
down.
tried being like, oh, okay, well, after half, like if Oregon comes out and gets a touchdown and then gets a stop and gets a touchdown, we might have a football game. My brother's like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, well, just watch. And then it didn't happen. I'm like, I'm an idiot.
You had Arizona State on the mind.
Arizona State also comes back. Texas doesn't look that good. Texas had a soft schedule. I didn't see the same with Notre Dame and Penn State. Like Ohio State just does seem like they're in a class of their own right now. As much as I hate saying,
But the only thing that I can keep going back to about Ohio State, which makes me question them and their legitimacy, is the hat.
the loss.
The loss on home turf to an unranked Michigan Wolverine team.
With the weapons Ohio State had on offense, yet they still decided to run right at the teeth of 2 future top 10 draft picks for 4 quarters. I don't understand what was going through Ryan Day's mind that afternoon. I'm not complaining, so it was a great morning of football. But the further removed we get from that game, the more puzzling it does get. Ohio State could be undefeated right now. They're not, obviously, but that loss still kind of looms large. But I'm with Matt. I think Ohio State beats them down tonight. Unfortunately, I'm pulling like hell for Texas.
The 2 things I go back to the Michigan. One, it is a rivalry game. So Michigan is like that at the start of every year. Michigan, Ohio State players, they circle that game. They know that that's a big game. So I understand Michigan also stepping up for that game. The other thing is maybe that's the thing that sent Ohio State on this run.
Yeah.
They needed that little extra loss. You know, they had the one close loss to Oregon earlier in the season. They get that one. There's all those question marks around Ryan Day. Maybe that the team rallied around the firing of Ryan Day calls and went, no, this is our coach. We're going to show you guys what we're capable of. We'll show you why we're preseason. And maybe that was the catalyst they needed to launch them off onto this run of we're just going to roll. Sorry, Dustin with the Y, who's he's hook 'em horns. He's in the nasty chat.
I'm with you, Dustin, with a Y.
I hope Texas
You and me,
wins.
hook 'em horns and Sid Nets. Let's go.
Sean Bell's getting feisty. He says Matty probably likes Ohio State.
Can't stand Ohio State.
And I said, well, he has 43 favorite teams. And then he sent me a bandwagon emoji.
No. Ohio State, I have a deep hate to Ohio State because that was not pass interference.
Okay.
That 4th down play in the
just telling you what
2003
Bell's said.
Fiesta Bowl was not pass interference. That flag came like 15 minutes late. Oh, Miami's on the field celebrating another national title with Larry Coker leading the team to that title. And no, the flag has to come. They go to an extra overtime and Ohio State wins that title. I have a deep hate for Ohio State dating back to 2003. That was a great football game. Willis McGahee his knee was destroyed in that game. It hurt his draft stock. He ends up going to the Bills still, though. But the Hurricanes won that national title and we got screwed.
Sports fans are the best because Matt just turned into Dan Orlovsky breaking down a play from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I have a hard time remembering my postal code.
22 years ago.
Yeah,
Valid.
but
22 years ago now.
Wow.
but you can still break it down. I love sports fans for that very same
So
reason.
Belsey,
Yes, that-
back off. I hate Ohio State and your Hurricanes.
Belsey's not the
you
only one.
are my team.
Jeffy's going to add to the pain. He says, who likes Ohio State, says the Yankees and Lakers fan.
Yeah,
that's a
that's
good
fine.
one.
Derek
good one.
Jeter.
Front runners.
It's all of that.
I'll always defend
And
Matt's
the
teams
Lakers.
because just look at who was good when Matt was like 10 years old, when people start to pick their teams. Right? Like I'll always defend. I know on the whole it looks weird.
Yeah.
But I'll always defend Matt's
But here's
teams.
like Ohio State
respect
is
that.
just such a unlikable
Thank you, Mark.
team. Right? Their colors suck.
It's pompous.
The Buckeye, what's a Buckeye?
A piece of wheat,
You know,
isn't it?
It's just not like, at least Michigan has bold statement colors, you know, like
Wolverines are
it's an
badass.
easy team to like.
Well, they've got
Ohio
the
State-
arrogance.
and Ohio State's
They're
always been
the
there.
Ohio
Yeah.
State University.
Yeah.
Well, it's the U too.
I know, but it's not Ohio State University. It's the
I
Ohio
was just
State
about to call you a
University.
really bad name, but I woof. I
Text
caught
it to me later.
I'd also just before, if we're going to move on from college football, I'd also just like to point out that the Michigan Wolverines beat Alabama twice this calendar year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, was it before the calendar
It was,
closed? Yeah.
Is
So-
Bama in a bit of a, like, I don't want to say tailspin, but they're kind of hurting right now, aren't they?
I think fans aren't too pleased with Mr. Kalen DeBoer. Sorry, Jack from Pro Am Sports. I know he's watching. I think he's had a rough season rooting on
Oh,
the
you
Crimson
can't be
Tide.
sad if you're a Bama
They've had
fan.
like a
Cry
great
on your
15
pillow
years.
and
You have
tears
nothing
of
to cry about.
Jack's fine.
So where Bama is one, when you go from the greatest college football coach ever to whoever's going to replace him,
Yeah.
there's going to be a drop off.
Yeah,
Just
of course.
straight up right there. We've seen, even at the tail end of Nick Saban's career, though, the SEC, like Georgia, step up.
Yep.
Texas in the last couple of years step up. So these other teams have stepped up. So naturally, there's going to be a little bit of growing pains, and we'll see how Kalen DeBoer eventually does. They did have a rough year. They will argue, though, for the loss to Michigan is that they don't care about that bowl game. It's not national title. It's not playoffs. We don't care. But that piss off with those ones.
I was told it means more in the SEC, though. So whatever that means.
The one thing I will say that some people are maybe looking at is now that NIL money is there,
Yeah.
and you could legally pay these players across the board, all of a sudden the SEC is now not the top. Because they were probably the top conference that would pay under the table.
Oh, yeah.
And now that everyone could pay players, all of a sudden the talent is dispersing across the country, and maybe the SEC isn't as strong as it once was.
Yep, it's fascinating. We're seeing it across college sports. BYU in basketball got one of the top basketball recruits. Is BYU known for their basketball?
No.
I don't think so, but they got one of the top recruits in the nation. So it's going to be really fascinating to see the trickle-down effect.
I
that
did a
the NIL
deep
has.
dive into BYU.
Oh, yeah?
during one of their bowl games because
They got a big win.
They did
because I picked them. Who did they
You know,
beat?
BYU. It's in the heart of Utah.
Was that Colorado?
It's, wasn't it?
Who did they
No.
play?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they beat down Colorado. It was
They
BYU beating down
smacked them
Colorado.
down. But you know, the Mormons, right? That's the heartland of that religion, and that epicenter is in Utah. And it's like, do you have to be Mormon to go to BYU?
Do you know who their quarterback is? Is that where you're going with this?
No,
Zach Wilson was there, right?
you don't have to be Mormon to go there and play on their teams. You do, however, have to abide by the team guidelines and that, you know, I would imagine it's a little bit more strict there than it would be, say, at the U.
It's not as strict at the U. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah,
It's probably a good time at the U.
but yeah,
They had
I
a
was wondering
Jewish
that.
quarterback this year.
Okay,
BYU did?
Yeah.
No way.
He was their first Jewish quarterback in their history.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that a lot of people don't realize is that these, you know, those young men that are playing sports at BYU, if they are practicing the Mormon faith, they are leaving in like the prime of their young adulthood to go on a mission for 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
And that was something that we dealt with when I was playing at U of A. Is you don't, it's funny to say, but you'd be looking at the crop of talent that's coming back from a mission. Like the Ralph family, you know, like and you know Dave Lowry, who played at Washington State and then went on his mission and came back, and you know, life changes, things change, and he came to U of A. But that's always such a different dynamic that BYU has to deal with as players leaving to go on their mission. It's interesting.
What about like Navy? All those fighter pilots aren't very big.
True.
Yeah.
Gotta fit in a cockpit.
Exactly.
That kind of got me thinking, are we ever going to get a Space Force football team? Like we have Army, we have Navy, we have Air Force.
Yeah.
We're going to add the fourth team for the Commander's Trophy.
Too,
Yeah. Are we going to get the Space Force? Like,
okay. I was wondering if Space Force still existed. And then I was watching something from the US and it had to do with this stupid Greenland thing. And someone was like, well, there is a Space Force base in Greenland and we have a good relationship with them. And I was like, Space Force does still exist.
still kicking around.
All right.
Protecting the skies.
Get us that fourth
Lasers.
football team to watch. And then we could do the doubleheader Army Navy game in
Yes.
December, followed by Air Force Space Force.
Set it up.
Set it up.
One on the East Coast, one on the West Coast.
All these bowl games and all these, they're all about just TV shows. We just gave ESPN 3.5 hours
You're
annually.
welcome.
Absolutely,
We'll take a bit of that cake
Yes.
too, by the way.
Congrats to Big Maple last night.
What did he do?
He was riding on Notre
Paul.
Dame. And I feel bad, and I must apologize because his fantasy year came down to, who was it? It was Terry McLaurin and another Commander's receiver.
Okay, hold up. His fantasy did not go to week 18. Do not tell me his
No, it
fantasy
didn't. It didn't.
Okay.
This was like a couple
Because
weeks ago.
I was going to be like,
Because they were playing, I think they were playing Monday night. Yeah. And he said, Glue guy, I need these two receivers. You think? And I'm like, they got it in the bag. Don't worry about it. And he ended up losing. They laid an egg. So I was happy for Big Maple yesterday. He messaged us on the Nasty Chat during our show yesterday and said, "Hey,
he's riding with ND.
You're right. You better be riding with ND on this because you can't screw me up twice."
They made him sweat, though.
Yeah, they did.
They made him sweat.
I just got to go on that field goal, game-winning field goal. 12 seconds left or whatever it is, 9 seconds. Didn't send the house, Penn State. They kept two players back, like 15 yards off the line. Good job, James Franklin. Protect from that fake field goal. You don't want to lose that way.
I honestly wonder what the thought process was there. Like, is that to protect if there's a failed snap and something happens.
Is it if there's a block, a clean pickup, and try to return it to the house, maybe?
Maybe.
Or to make sure that, go for the block. Your season's on the line. The national title's basically on the line, and you keep two guys back. Maybe they're just banking that the kicker was going to miss, which he almost did.
What was fascinating to watch was the kicker's father in the crowd filming the kick and then going to high five his buddies. To film a game-winning kick when kickers haven't had a ton of success, that takes a lot of stones from that father.
Well, he has had a couple big kicks here leading up to this, so that I love seeing the parents in the crowd, and especially parents of a kicker. That must be
I'd hate it.
Insufferable, to be the parents of a kicker. But then when the kicker does good, it's like, that's my boy.
But it only could be in these moments. Like a kicker goes 4 for 4 in a normal game, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
The kicker goes 3 for 4, but misses a decent kick. Like there would be what the hell is wrong with your son?
Kicker goes 3 for 7 and makes the game winning. You're the hero.
Go.
Yeah.
You got to just make the biggest kick. And actually, that was one thing Bama always struggled with for a long part of Nick Saban's career was he never had a great kicker.
Really?
It was until the later part of his Bama years they had one, but his kicker always would have some sort of mess up.
Thankfully, Alabama didn't need too many games to come down to a kicker, though. I think during Saban's time.
True enough.
But he did have that. Oh, I'll never forget the Bama Auburn Iron Bowl, the return field goal to the house for the win.
6.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That was amazing.
That was beautiful.
College football has such drama.
Majeau, have you signed the wall?
I have not. I was looking at some of the
Should we do a
autographs.
live signing? Have you done a live signing?
I don't think we've done a live signing.
There's
I don't know
a
if I
pen
want
right
to put the pressure on him.
Oh,
to
I
live
do.
I
sign.
have a
do.
text that's about Majeau from Baggio that I could read while he live signs the
Yeah,
wall.
you guys
Pen's
have-
right
okay,
there.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a live signing would be
Yeah.
great.
Sure.
We're gonna pick a spot for him.
Oh,
right.
no. It's
Yeah,
spots
we're
up
up.
to
Trying
you.
to sign somewhere really high.
Well, you
Tall?
keep it
Well,
in the
Maddie
stream,
has
you
a
know?
thing about this.
Why the center? Because then it shows up on camera.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants.
It's
Yeah,
on there.
find your spot.
That's a good one. I'll sign by the light source so you
All
can
right.
see me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, you're going there?
Baggio texts in and says, Tommy, tell Mark to keep up with the great work on the podcast. I'm an OG listener and it's awesome. They are great to listen to. I enjoy every single one. Ask if he thinks if the next Mission Impossible is the last one, and if someone replaces Tom Cruise, who could it be? Thanks.
Thank you for listening.
MCTV podcast.
And who is that?
Baggio.
Baggio. Thank you for listening. I love the Mission Impossible movies. I feel they've got more and more ridiculous over the last probably 10 years, but in the best possible way.
Okay.
I don't want to say they've replaced James Bond movies. You can never replace James Bond. It's called Final Reckoning. I think the studio wants it to be their last one so they can put all the marketing money behind it. But Tom Cruise, I'm pretty sure, wants to die filming a movie. So I don't think Tom Cruise wants this to end. So I'm going to say I hope not. He's like 62 years old, but doesn't look 62 years old. I don't know what he does to maintain such youth, but I hope not, because I really, really like those movies.
Okay. I like that. What was I going to say about Mission Impossible?
What was the last one called?
Dead Reckoning.
Dead
Yeah.
Reckoning.
And this
Now
one's
it's
Final
Reckoning. I wonder if there's just going to be a reckoning.
He's got
Probably.
that's what I was going to say. He has a stake or he gets a cut of profits, right?
I believe
With
so,
these
yeah.
movies. Yeah, that's what a lot of these guys are doing and ladies are doing in Hollywood, right? Like they get a piece of the box office. That's impressive.
One of the first people to do that was Jack Nicholson for Batman 89.
Oh, yeah?
He got like $20 million in 1989, which
That's
is
huge.
probably like $100 million now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good way. Robert Downey Jr. has it with some of the Marvel movies too. Again,
That's incredible. Well, the Marvel movies have done what? Billions?
yep.
So Robert Downey Jr. is probably in the hundreds of millions.
It's been, I think, so he's making, for the one coming up, he's going to be in Doomsday, like $80 million.
Oh my
But for
goodness.
Infinity War and Endgame, it was reported he made upwards of $90 million each for those movies. And also, he's not putting the suit on at this point, right?
Right.
He's putting on sweatsuits and they put dots on his face.
Yeah,
and he
this-
just gets to hang out in sweats. Yeah, it's a pretty good gig.
That is. Doesn't he own a lighthouse that he lives in?
Wouldn't surprise
I
me if he
believe
does
that
at this point.
he owns a lighthouse and he's converted it into a home. Or was that just Ron Burgundy from Anchorman? Or both guys?
Probably both. Wouldn't shock me.
I feel like
Be nice to have that kind of money.
Yeah, that would be. Where do you live? Well,
it?
that little island with the
Would it?
lighthouse.
What?
I
Having
think
that
so.
much money?
Would it?
Having that much money? Or you asked like that? Is that the question?
Yes.
100%.
I think so, yeah.
I would love it.
Would you?
Yes. Why wouldn't I?
Why would you prefer that over what you have right now?
Like having being able to do what I want when I want.
Does money make problems go away?
For certain problems, 100%.
Yeah, I think so.
The fact that, like, no offense, like I would stop working because I just golf every day, like in beautiful locales. I would have houses in different places.
Would an enormous amount of money, make you happier? I understand the simple question. The simple answer is, well, yes, dumbass. But
because here's the thing: tonight there's a football game, Ohio State, Texas. I'm gonna go.
Would you bring me?
Sure, why not?
Well, then I want you to get rich.
Like, it's like, you want to know something? I got nothing to do. I'll go to both games. I'll be in Miami yesterday, catch a flight to, I don't know, what's games today? Cotton Bowl?
Yes.
Is it Cotton Bowl?
Yes.
So Dallas, I'm off to Dallas, and we'll go watch that game. And you want to know something, January 20th? Let's go to the Natty.
Where is it this year?
That's a great question.
That is a very good question.
I don't know.
It's a trivia question now.
Someone in the nasty channel.
Yeah.
No?
But, and then as a guy who likes golfing, okay, well, you want to know something? I'm going to go golf Pebble. I'm going to go golf Torrey Pines.
Well, the reason,
you want to my Lakers make the NBA Finals? I'm going to go watch. I'm going to go get front row. I'm going to sit next to Jack.
Iwanyk and Nicholson would be quite the scene on the floor at crypto.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
The
reason I asked that is because you see like a lot of people that come into money, the lottery win or it's gone, and then what do you have to show for it? And even you look at that ESPN 30 for 30 that was done on football players. It was called Broke.
Yeah.
You just you can't manage it, you lose it. Now you're at a different age and different stage of your life where you could probably handle that and manage it.
I've always been relatively good with that. But even if I blew it, let's say I had all like hundreds of millions of dollars and I blew it in 10 years. The enjoyment I would have had for those 10 years would be worth it. I could then go back and do normal work. I could go and become, work at Rona or something. And knowing those 10 years, though, were amazing. I enjoyed life to the fullest in those 10 years.
Right.
So, 100%. If somebody wants to give me hundreds of millions of dollars, I will gladly take it.
This is really cheeseball, but Jasmine always says I'm rich. She just assumes that. I don't know why. And I always say
the girl that gets bottle service everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Like
goes to
talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Is that what you say?
Yeah.
I am rich. So are you. We have healthy kids, healthy family. That's all you want. That's it.
Yeah, that's a different definition of rich. Money rich.
That's probably why I asked that in that general tone. Is that I think richness is family, health.
But you could still have all that and then
not sweat the mortgage.
$500 million.
Sprinkle a few dollars.
That
in there.
sounds lovely.
You then know that your kids are, and your grandkids and your grandkids' kids and all that are completely taken care of for a long time.
Hey, look, Jasmine says you would know, Jay, since you're rich. I am rich, Jasmine.
Reed also says, could Jack Nicholson handle Matt's persnickety?
No. You would get bounced from those seats so fast because of your persnickety behavior.
I think you would just watch the game, wouldn't you?
Actually, it wouldn't be the persnickety behavior. It would be the persnickety tone at which you speak to.
No, it would depend on the way the game's going. If the game's going great, I'll be up there. I'll be cheering. I'll be getting into it. But if they're losing,
persnickety.
If they're losing or something, then I'll just sit quietly. Like, I wouldn't boo or anything, but you'd see a scowl on my face, I think.
He would become a meme. They'd show him on ESPN for a quick second.
Like, who the F is this guy?
They'd have the scorebook at the bottom, and it would become like the meme of
this
that
persnickety guy. Okay, so Jack Nicholson, I saw, I don't really like TikTok and those reels and stuff, but this one was really good. It was Danny DeVito, who I love.
Mm-hmm. Did you just say you don't like TikTok or reels?
Yes, correct.
I disagree with that. I'm not buying what you're selling.
Buy it.
No.
You're rich, buy it. Okay, anyway, Danny DeVito said they were doing, was it Cuckoo's Nest? Anyway, and they were filming around Portland, and they want to go to a basketball game, so they went to a Trailblazers game, and this is like mid to late 70s, somewhere around there. And DeVito's like, I hadn't really been to a basketball game, and Jack's like, you want to go to a basketball game, Danny? And
really good.
so
good, Jack.
you got courtside seats, and he's like, do you want a cola? And he's like, yeah. And so he got DeVito like the biggest pop, and it was like bigger than Danny because he's tiny, right? And he goes, somebody like walked by and it knocked over the pop and it went all over the court. And like they had to stop the game. He's like, I was getting sworn at. Nobody knew who I was. And they cleaned it all up and they didn't kick me out. And then Jack didn't say a single thing until after everything was clean. They started the game and he looked at me again. And he goes, you want another cola, Danny? That was it. He said they did smoke a doobie on the way to the game too, though.
It was the late 70s. They probably did it in the arena as well.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
Courtside,
Yeah.
It's a big game now if Jack shows up, just because he's in age and it's he doesn't come out as much. But when it's a big enough game, Jack will still be there, and it's.
So I've always wondered, does he own those tickets?
I believe so. Let's find out.
When you do see celebrities, whenever you do see like Pete Davidson at Knicks games, does he have to buy those tickets? Do the Knicks own like half of the courtside?
I think sometimes they're comped, or the only experience I have knowing any insight into that. Okay, so you worked with the Elks a little bit. Like you always comp the visiting team or special guests and stuff, and you have a few seats. We're in New York. Wayne Gretzky was working for the Oilers at the time. Game was at MSG, and he always has an offer at any owner's box. He can always sit wherever Oilers management sits. Like he had the pick of the litter because he's Wayne, and I think because Ty was with him, and Ty didn't want to sit with us in the press box. I don't blame him. They had to like finagle 2 seats, and it was right above the Rangers bench.
Okay.
But they always had a few available, and I think a lot of like the celebrities at Rangers games are given those, and it's always through the Rangers.
Must be nice.
But like, is it Spike Lee with the Knicks?
I think he does own those.
Yeah, like,
he goes to a lot.
Yeah, so I feel like I think Will Ferrell owns his season seats with
the Kings.
With the Kings, few of them own, but others I think they're just, hey, you want to sit? We've got these seats in a very visible spot. And then they always put them on camera.
ChatGPT says Jack Nicholson has been a Lakers season ticket holder since 1970.
Wow.
And has maintained his commitment to the Lakers. It does say for celebs that some, like Jack and Spike, they do purchase and just own their teats. Okay. Some get it complimentary, but it's usually in exchange for some sort of promotional benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think I've gone to a couple Knicks games, and it seems like the deal is we have to show you on camera for a quick second.
Yeah.
But we'll get you in and out.
Yeah.
But you have to smile when we put you on camera, and that seems fair. Sneaky about MSG is that press box kind of stinks, hey?
I love it.
Oh, do you?
They built a catwalk.
Okay, I haven't been there in probably over 10 in the press box in over 10 years.
Okay, was it before or after the reno?
That was before then. So,
Okay, yeah, because I heard the old one, it sucked.
Yeah, you were out in the open.
Yeah,
like
and it was like in a corner or something like that at an
weird,
angle.
yeah.
So they put like $1 billion into MSG. Wow. They just gutted it. They did it in stages. I think they did the lower bowl first, and then they changed the pitch of the upper bowl, and they built a catwalk.
Awesome.
And it is one of the best press boxes in the NHL, but it cost $1 billion.
It's one of the best arenas in sports, man.
It is phenomenal.
I've blessed to go to probably about a dozen venues, and MSG for a regular season game, it feels like you're watching the game with 17,000 people that are gambling on the game.
Yep.
Like no matter who they're playing, Knicks or Rangers, MSG is an incredible atmosphere.
And you have to take the elevator to the 5th floor to get to the ice.
Isn't there levels below?
There's
Isn't there a circus below
There's
MSG?
a theater below. There's like a 5,000 seat theater.
That's where they used to do the NBA draft, was I think in that theater below.
Yeah. And I remember like the team bus, you pull in, like New York is super busy, obviously, but they have a little area where the buses park, and then the buses don't go into the building. You either have to go into the elevator that takes forever, or like most people do, they have this huge ramp that is on the inside, but it's on the outside towards the outer shell, and you're walking up like 7 stories.
Wow.
It's super neat, and technically it's the oldest arena in the NHL. It was built in 68.
A long time ago.
But they've gutted it a couple of times. And
a few massive renos.
Yeah.
And so efficient. I was there once for an afternoon game, and there was a night game, but they drag you out of that as soon as the afternoon game ends. I'm sure it's the same at was it Crypto now in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
If they got 2 events, you can't hang around. They're dragging you out because they got to flip it over really quickly.
And
Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout, they are brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. You wanted to start with a question to us.
Oh,
we did as the Hangout is, we
Yes.
go off on things.
So
What was your question?
well, I asked Reed about
Matt,
this.
Jay, Majeau, and Gazzola with you here on the Hangout.
So yesterday, as part of our buying or selling, courtesy of Damon Bunting Real Estate, who is coming in today, by the way.
What time?
He'll be here like, I think 4:20.
I hope I'm still here.
He's coming on our show for a visit, and he's got a major update.
Ooh.
Damon Bunting does. Some changes have happened in his world, but anyways, as part of buying or selling, I asked Reed, "Are you buying?" Well, the first question I asked him was, "Are you buying that a chicken burger, like a crunchy chicken burger, is better than a cheeseburger?"
Oh, I heard you guys going off about this yesterday.
And he said that he prefers the chicken burger crunchy, like a breaded chicken burger, over, and then he said over a hamburger. And I said, "Do you mean a cheeseburger?" He says, "No, I mean a hamburger." I said, wait. You would prefer a hamburger over a cheeseburger? And he said, "Absolutely." And he looked at me as if I was, had five eyes. Like I said, "Wait." So he thinks it's more commonplace, or he maybe not more commonplace, but I certainly think that most people would say, even okay,
If you had the option, if we put a plate of hamburgers and cheeseburgers,
yes. What are you grabbing?
the one that goes more is going to be gone quicker. Will be cheeseburgers over hamburgers. Is what you say? Reed says hamburgers over cheeseburgers.
He didn't necessarily say it was definitively hamburgers over cheeseburgers,
But he would.
I said 100% the cheeseburgers would go first,
I think so.
right?
I'm team cheeseburger. in this one, yeah.
I think most people are team cheeseburger.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In that instance, I would take the hamburger if there's cheese available, because I don't like melted cheese on mine. I like to let the patty do the melting. You know what I mean? Or make the cheese sweat.
Reed was specifically talking no cheese on said burger.
Yeah, forget that. I need cheese on my burger.
And then he's like, "Well, do you get tomatoes on your cheeseburger?" I'm like, "Sometimes." He's like, "Wow."
He did made that noise.
You could
I
do
heard
that.
it.
Tomatoes on a cheeseburger.
I know, but what he was trying to say was, well, are tomatoes the same argument as cheese on a burger as opposed to no cheese? And I just think that cheese is synonymous with a burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are separate though. Like, because it's a hamburger and it's a cheeseburger
Well, I
at
asked him,
McDonald's
I
or any
said, have you
place.
ever ordered a hamburger at a fast food restaurant? And, him in his classic way says, "Well, I don't really eat it. Fast food places." I said, "Okay, Reed."
And I'm persnickety.
Yeah, I know, right? I said,
He calls me persnickety.
Okay, Reed.
Pot meat kettle.
We're at the Wilkie barbecue. We're having some suds. We're on the back deck. Reed's cooking some burgers.
Yeah.
You ain't throwing cheese on that. He said, "Well, I would offer cheese to people, but I myself would not." So, out of 4 people here, this is obviously a very small sample size, but 3 out of 4 are in favor of.
I could go set up a poll.
We're
on
pro
YouTube.
cheese.
I just have to
I'm
go
having
around.
cheese.
I'd like that poll.
Okay, I'm going to set up a poll.
I'd like that poll.
I just
I
don't
cheese.
I don't need it melted. Like if we're visiting my parents and my brothers are over, and he'll be like, "Who wants cheese on their burger?" I'll be like, "I'm good without melted." Like, I like to put it on after.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So what are we asking here? Are we team?
or cheese?
Well, say team cheeseburger and
No, you can't. What I'll hopefully. So if you could have one burger at a barbecue, which would you pick?
condiments aside.
Yeah, I'm mentioning me
The
hamburger,
base burger.
cheeseburger.
I like that. I don't
Is
know.
that a fair question?
I think that's worded fairly.
I would but I would just assume that, like you outlined, Jay, 95% of us are grabbing the cheeseburger. Unless we're lactose intolerant.
Fair.
I assume the same.
Yeah.
But like I said, Reed looked at me like I was morphing into a Marvel character in front of his eyes. He couldn't believe that I, would suggest
you
that.
need to pick one at a barbecue. Which do you
Yes, I like
hamburger,
that. Perfect.
Cheeseburger.
Okay.
Start poll. It has begun.
All right. Looney Len gets in on the action via the text line. Says a cheeseburger plain, nothing else, 100%.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if you add any condiments, no cheese, please, no way, take the hamburger every time.
So I am actually pro plain cheeseburger.
Just straight up.
Straight up bun, cheese slice melted,
Oh,
burger.
yeah.
I think you need a little bit of condiments in there. Like
Obviously it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt, but I love just a plain old cheeseburger, man. My wife thinks that's crazy, and I agree.
there's
It's-
nothing wrong with that.
You know, I just the condiments sometimes can get sloppy and squishy and move.
Do you know what that tells me about you? You like your meat. Sometimes you just want the taste of that burger.
Yes.
It's why I don't like putting things in my burger. Just Scott McCorden knows this very well. When you're cooking, all it needs is salt and pepper. That's it.
Sure.
Don't need anything else in a burger.
I
Let
agree
the
with
meat
that.
stand out. Let the meat be the star. And you just want the meat with the cheese being a
Just
star.
give me the goods.
Early voting, it's at 30 votes right now. 90% cheeseburger, 10% hamburgers.
Thought so.
We'll see how this voting goes, but early reports, we might be, the decision desk might call this soon.
Throw
The
away
decision desk might come out and just call this one.
throw away the rundown for your show this afternoon. We've gotta start
sorry,
from
Reed.
scratch.
This is pretty damning to your thought that hamburgers are in the same place. But
That's odd. That's an odd argument. And I kind of I was watching the game while you guys were going on, and I'm like, seriously? And Reed was very adamant on this hamburger thing.
like I said, it was almost like I was speaking another language. I was very taken aback by that.
It's
Andrea
becoming the new me.
Andrea says cheese always on burgers. Jason prefers without. Jay, are you willing to share the granola bar and protein ball recipe?
100%.
Ooh, I like it.
100%.
Hit Andrea up in the inbox.
So this is no. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it to the world. That's how much I make these. I know exactly what it is. It's 1 cup of smooth peanut butter, 2/3 cup of honey, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/3 cup of chocolate chips, 2.5 cups of rolled oats, and salt to taste or flavor. That's it.
Sounds like a man who's made his fair share of granola bars.
What's wrong with if you use chunky peanut butter?
You could. I'm sure you could. And
You
you
haven't
can
done it?
you can flirt with white chocolate. You know, you can
Interesting.
flirt with coconut. You can flirt with pecans. I'm not a nut guy, so that's always out of the question for me. Or maybe a crushed walnuts of some sort, or whatever your nut of choice is.
You know what, guys? I think we're flirting with an EST cookbook.
Oh,
We have
Do you want
Wow.
to, like with that?
Reed's Burger with just a patty.
Burgers is the saddest picture ever. Of
just
it's
him
a
holding
plain hamburger.
think it's just
Gager
something.
keeps making us food here.
Really?
He brought in the
Brussels
Matthew
sprouts.
McConaughey. I always struggle with that.
McConaughey.
McConaughey. The tuna sandwich. There would be my bean, like the true chili, which
All right,
is
all
beanless.
right,
Traditional.
all right.
Traditional chili.
Yeah.
Somebody else could create a different one that I had at the tailgate for the boys.
Right.
Not home style.
It's not. It's traditional.
Yeah, but home style.
There would. I think there could be something there.
I think so.
I like this match.
think so.
And then
I have an Oilers cookbook
Jay's balls.
from like the
We'll call
90s or
it-
something. I think
remember
I
that
still
one.
have that one. I should bring it. I wonder
yeah.
if Gagers
Mine
are
will
connected
just be
to that.
called Jay's balls.
I love it.
I like that.
I love it.
They're not
Dusty-
sweaty balls. They're Jay's balls.
Dusty would have
Oh, chicken
like
tenders.
chicken tenders, but
Homemade chicken tenders.
I guess, but I don't. He wouldn't really go ahead and. I
We
don't know if
could
he makes
coerce
some.
him to
We'd
do
have
it.
to, because the other thing is he does the frozen burgers. So the recipe would be frozen burgers.
Yeah.
Go-to store.
Go to store,
defrost.
buy burgers.
That would be funny.
defrost,
That would be funny.
Put on grill.
I think Eric would have some sort of hamburger helper meal.
Oh,
I know
I'd
that's
have to.
right up his
Yes.
alley. Yeah.
although he grills meats quite a
He
bit.
does,
He's
actually,
succulent
yeah.
meats. I would happily do my fried egg sandwich recipe. I call it the Arctic Hunter.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I'm incapable of making a grilled cheese. I've
Really?
never done it in my
Really?
life. Yeah.
Are you a good cook? You got that
No,
Italian in you?
I'm not.
Really?
I willfully dislike cooking. And
Really? Okay.
It's always a point of contention with some people, and I'm just like, no, I just choose not to cook. They're like,
fair.
are you not capable? I'm like, I'm very capable. I just don't do it.
But are you?
Am I?
Well, that's it. You're saying I'm capable, but
Yeah.
are you?
Yes.
If you don't
The
do
only
it, how do you
person
know that you're
impeding-
capable?
The only person impeding me from being a good cook is me by choice.
Cooking's so much fun.
Well, you
I
heard it
love
here.
cooking.
Before the holidays next year, the EST cookbook will be in stores.
I'll just get it like back in like with the coil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can bake them yourself at like a Staples or something.
You cook.
I dabble. My wife's a much better cook than I am.
What would you say is your go-to?
I'm good on the grill, which is difficult 6 months out of the year here. I can make a nice pasta dish. I can make a mean grilled cheese.
Nice.
Nothing super basic.
Yep.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Very basic.
What's yours? You're a chicken. and
I like
veggies
using
kind of guy.
chicken with veggies, chicken with rice, that type of stuff. Grill's always anything on the grill
Yeah.
I'll be happy with.
Yeah.
Beer can chicken, I've done that before. You got to use the beer. Sorry, not water. It's beer.
Guy uses water once and it's just,
You went on air saying you use water. No. It's beer
what
can
you
chicken.
see. It's what
I know,
you put in the
but
water
use the beer.
or beer.
Use the beer. You drink a third of it. You keep 2/3. You put it in the
Yes,
chicken.
in a
You
perfect
stand
world,
it up.
you're correct. Okay?
That's how you do it.
You win, I lose. You're smart, I'm dumb. You're good looking, I'm ugly. Well, I mean, what else do you want to say?
I'm gonna peek behind the curtain.
I don't know if there's any.
I
else.
know.
Yes,
Look
there's
what
sneaky
you've
behavior
unlocked.
Well, do it right. I sent you the Matt Dunnigan cookbook
Yeah.
and what he did with his beer can.
Yes.
And
yes.
it was a tall boy he even used. I think I still have that
Do you
picture.
remember
man.
those Matt? Like he had that show.
Road
Barbecue.
grill
Yes,
it. Road
that was the
Grill.
book from the
That
show.
was so awesome. He would just come out, probably just ripped off like 30 dumbbell curls
Yeah.
to squeeze into that shirt. Just come out, just jacked up.
Yeah, the Road Grill.
Yeah, look at him.
Cookbook.
Look how jacked
And then
up
there it
he
is, the beer can chicken cookbook. I got really mad one Canada Day because the Elks were in Hamilton taking on the Ticats, and like they had him barbecuing, and like the whole halftime show was just him like giving his food to the panel, and I'm like, talk about the game, guys. Like I have a post game show to do right away here, like in a half, but all you're doing is eating and talking about his food, and he was just loving cooking.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I don't think
he
he paid
was.
attention at all.
Yep.
He was just on that grill in his happy place. I'm like, this is awesome. That's cool. Talk about the damn game.
Could you imagine just showing up to that game, not really having a clue what's going on? You'd be like, "Oh, TSN's here for the whole panel," and then all of a sudden you see a huge grill and Matt Dunnigan's the one cooking, and you're like,
Topless.
"Is that
Yeah.
topless? He is jacked." Is that Matt Dunnigan grilling? Shouldn't he be doing TV stuff?
I know I've had a couple beers, but have I had that many beers to
Yeah,
see?
am I
Like, is that who
seeing
I think it is at the
Yeah.
grill?
I'm excited for CFL
What's
season.
the,
Actually, with
what's
that,
the updated poll numbers here? Ryan?
we're at 61 votes, 87% cheeseburger, 13% hamburger. Let that go a little bit longer till the decision desk makes a decision.
Dustin
Yeah.
with a Y says medium rare burger, yum.
Oh yeah.
Which is a very American thing.
Very American.
Here it's well done.
Yeah.
But I remember someone once telling me that it's the way our ground beef is sold. It's a little different than the U.S. that we are supposed to actually cook it to a well done
Yeah.
temperature. And there is a difference with how their ground beef is
Right.
allowed to be sold and some of their, what are they, FDA or
FDA.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I do like a little pink in my burger.
You're going to transition to the.
Oh,
the
it's going to bring up the tampering window.
I love
it's
this.
CFL tampering windows.
This is one of the best props I have ever seen.
From
Dave-
Nisku Glass.
Yeah, Dave
Yes.
from Nisku Glass
This is
brought it in this morning.
unbelievable.
Dave and the team came out to my house and replaced my entire front window.
No way.
Damn.
Yeah.
Does it have the 9 CFL logos on it, like the
No,
tamper window? Okay.
Dave, you owe me 9 logos, dog.
This
There's
is
the-
this is wonderful.
This is this is stuff that I would say like this is EST in a nutshell.
It is.
Stuff like this.
It'll get the use 1 week a year, but it'll get good use for that 1 week every single year.
Well, I told Dusty we need to make a mount on the wall so that the CFL tampering window can
Oh,
be mounted when it's not in use.
I don't trust our building here. We're gonna knock it off and it's gonna shatter.
Somehow, yeah.
I can take care of the mount.
you're going to show up one day. And gonna be
It's
on the
not
ground.
that part. It's like we're gonna be playing flat basketball or something, and it's gonna fall somehow, and it's gonna shatter.
All of those dunks that Reed does before, he's going to shatter that like Shaq at LSU
I loved
in
yesterday's
the late
dunk.
80s.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
William Stanback did officially sign in Ottawa as we got the what is it? Musical chairs of running backs right now.
Yep.
Butler goes to BC. Stanback's going to Ottawa. I'm very still intrigued what's going to happen with Kadeem Carey because I don't think he'll be back with the Argos.
I haven't
Great
had a
season
chance
last
to
year.
chat with you guys since the Elks made all their changes. Very positive changes, by the way, but it's been a while. as someone who lives in this market and like follows all the teams where the Elks actually kind of stole some headlines from the Oilers for a few days for positive reasons.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since that has last happened. So obviously still a long time to go to training camp and preseason, but I do feel like there is a positive buzz surrounding the Elks for the first time in a long time.
I think there was 4 major press conferences in the span of about 5 or 6 weeks or something like
And
that.
all
Or maybe
positive.
a little bit longer. And just ones that
Every move was usually praised
Slam
by
dunks.
everyone. Yeah.
Slam
Yeah.
dunks. Every one of them was a slam dunk.
You were in a lot of press conferences. You remember the turmoil and all those weird, awkward, ferocious, angry press conference?
Yeah, I do.
The 4 Elks ones. I was at 2 of the 4, I believe. Especially the one with Ed. And like Ed seems like he's matured in his executive roles. There was an intensity in there in that room. And it was like, whoa, it was you could very much feel it. And those press conferences were super well attended.
Yeah.
Unlike press conferences of the past, unfortunately for the Elks.
Mm-hmm.
But
You know what that intensity is, Tom?
what?
What I think it is?
What?
Passion.
That's
Passion
fair,
for
yeah.
these people that have returned back to their home, to the team that they care for.
Yeah.
The passion in Chris's voice was because he loves that organization. It has offered him so much, and he cares deeply. You look at Ed. He cares deeply about this team being called, as he referred to, the laughingstock of the CFL for the past few years. You look at Mark Killam, who grew up here. His wife's family's from here. He played University of Alberta Golden Bears football. He's only ever worn green and gold during his playing career. He is passionate about this team and this city. That is what you can't make that up. You can't just say, I'm sorry, but some of the other press conferences you guys attended, that was all BS. That was manufactured passion. This is real. And that is going to take this team to the next level. Mark my words, book it. I've said this before. This is not breaking news by any account. This team will be competing for a Grey Cup in the next 2 to 3 years, fast.
Is it fair? Like, I look at it as a fan. Is it fair to say I'm expecting them to compete for a home playoff date in 25?
100%.
That should kind of be what you're shooting for. This obviously championships, but I do feel like with the quick turnaround, you should be able to put yourself in contention to finish 1 or 2.
last year, if we looked at it, like if Boris Beatty had a couple of games that were really rough, if they win those 2 games, and there was a Montreal game, I think, and there was an Ottawa game I could point to, they would have tied BC, and they would have been in the playoffs because they had the tiebreaker against BC. So right there, they would have been a playoff team this year if they just had a kicker that did his job that he was being paid for. Jay, big Boris Beatty fan. And then you'd be a point back as Saskatchewan for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, with the improvements, if with Trey getting a little bit more experience, could you go from that 500 ball team that they should have been last year to being a just above 500,
right?
which is then competing for a home playoff date?
And let's be clear, this is not a bad roster.
No, not at all.
This is now. I think there's going to be some adjustments
There's
made
holes still,
to
Well, the O-line is going to be something
Maybe
I have to pay attention to.
positionally who's getting the big dollars is going to move from, I think, outside on the field to inside, which is where it should be.
Yeah.
The defensive line was the weak spot of that team last year. They never got non-package pressure. And what I mean by that is unless they were sending extra bodies, they were not getting pressure on the quarterback. In the CFL, you have to be able to generate a 4-man rush that gets pressure. They need to address that, and they will. But the roster, like the offensive line, people ask, well, Trey Ford, needs protection. The offensive line was pretty damn good last
But they're free agents. There's quite a few free agents, and they haven't been signed. And that's why I said O-line is a big thing for me.
There's free agents on every team as well. And,
I know, but that's the only concern I would have is that where's Ed? Like, if he locked up this O-line here, then okay, I know what that O-line is going forward. That's the thing for free agency I'm paying attention to is what is Ed doing with the O-line and the D-line? Because those are where, like right now, the O-line was great last year. Better than, I was completely wrong with that O-line. But there's free agents. And then the D-line just needs to be repaired. Well, that's where you win and lose as a football.
Let me say this then, because last year the biggest issue was all the money that was spent on an aging quarterback in McLeod Bethel Thompson, that didn't work out when you had a guy like Trey who, and I mean, as of this point, he still hasn't proven himself in this league. But they gave him the bag, they gave him the support, and said, "You're coming into camp as number one. You're our guy. We're going to go with that." But as you know, knowing that there are a lot of free agents, but just understand this team will be built from the inside out. O-line, D-line are going to be the prime
Middle
focus.
linebacker, safety, quarterback. I think that's
exactly what Ed said to us. That's where the strength of your team is from the inside, middle, out.
no Niles Morgan signed yet either.
That one
Those are like, and
Worried
that's
about.
so for agency. So the tampering window, as the CFL calls it, though, the communication window.
nice.
It opens Feb 2 at noon Eastern, which is 10-hour time. And then it will close at noon Eastern, 10-hour time on February 9th. And then free agency opens on the 11th, as there's a 48-hour window where the teams that have the contracts of those players, they get an exclusive rights again to try to convince them to stay or something like that. So Feb 2nd, it will open. So I think maybe Feb 3rd, I'll have to plan a real hangout for that.
CFL is short for Chatty Football League. So I imagine that the window is still open, but I think there's probably some people knocking on some windows a little bit early.
Touche.
Who are the
Probably.
Elks?
Hey,
free
you
agents?
worked for the Elks
I did.
for a bit. Yeah, like what was your experience there? Because that was were they not coming off the Riley Ed years and you kind of caught it in between?
So I was there for a little bit of Ed. I was there for Brock Sunderland, actually.
Yeah.
So I had a positive experience working there. I know that maybe it wasn't the best time for the franchise, but for me, I can't speak to all of the football ops and stuff, but I felt that I was treated fairly there. It was a weird time, obviously, that transition with Coach Moss for his first couple years there, I want to say. But it does seem like night and day to where the organization has gotten to now.
Good point.
Like a lot different. Seems like just yesterday, but
Fair.
long time has gone since then.
How did you find Jason when he took over as head coach?
Intense. I think that's a word he would probably use himself. I was fortunate enough to go to Las Vegas with the team for a mini training camp. So I got to sit in some of the behind the scenes meetings and stuff. And yeah, it would knock your hair back being in some of those meetings. You're like, holy smokes, this is stuff you see on Hard Knocks and all that to be part of it. But I felt his goal was pretty clear from the very beginning. And look what Moss has done since he left, right? He's turned into, I think he's learned some lessons. I think
He said that himself.
Yeah, I think, well, Ed here said the same thing, right? You learn lessons, you grow, you mature, and I think it's great that you can take some of those lessons, take some of those humbling moments. Like Moss was an OC in Saskatchewan for 2 years, and then he got the head gig back in Montreal. Not back in Montreal, but
2 or 3. Might have been 2.
yeah, it was a learning experience, I think, for all those involved. Brock's Sunderland is not in football anymore. I don't believe he's popped up anywhere.
I don't think so.
But a lot of those guys have kind of shown up elsewhere. So it is fascinating.
Yeah. I'm curious about Jason because, that was the start of his coaching career. I do a hunting show with him on Wild TV. He's one of our hunters. And, of course, we always end up talking football. And, those are things he's like, I did this, I did that. I learned this the hard way. I'm brash and I can be stubborn and stuff like that. Like, it's good to admit it.
When I did the podcast for the Elks, I got to do a one-on-one with Moss, and I found he opened up more about hunting and his family.
Yeah,
he wasn't too interested in talking about football with me. I get it. It was a coach like, hey, can you go talk to that guy for a half an hour that stalks around?
Yeah.
But once I got him out hunting, he's a passionate guy. So
changes.
Has he taken you out hunting yet?
No, I've never gone. I've hosted the show for 5 years now, and I've never once gone out. I have camo now.
Okay.
Yeah, the Wild TV crew, they take really good care of me, but they're like, we're gonna get you in a tree stand. We're gonna get you out, and I'm like, yeah. And then
Do you have the patience for hunting though?
probably not.
That's it.
But I'll go out. I'll help cut lanes and whatever, and set up a tree stand when it's warm.
That's fair.
And it got to like, we had that one really cold week and they're like, do you want to come out and we'll film something? And I was like, nope, too cold. They're like, no, we have all the gear. They have like heated gear. I was like, no, it's too cold. I'm good.
I'm assuming it's a lot like golf and other things, right? Where the technology has improved so much, you can golf pretty much whenever you want now, right? With golf simulators and
There's so many golf
all
simulators
that
in the
stuff.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drive by places. I'm like, there's a golf sim there. Like so many, like from even just 5 years ago.
Well,
5 years ago, there was
golf
two.
right over here is now
got Gimme
partnered up
Golf.
with
Yes.
EST Afternoons.
Like
Oh, wow.
2 years ago, there was like maybe two I knew of when I was like looking for golf sims for the winter or something. And now it's everywhere.
Don't they have greens that move over there? Like
I haven't.
it's
There,
pretty
I think
crazy.
the boys are going to Gimme Golf on next Friday.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I'll be looking forward to their review of Gimme Golf. That's dangerous that it's right there.
It's right there.
I know.
It's like worse than having a bar right beside you.
Once
we
I
have a
start-
bar in our office. This office. The amount of alcohol.
Before you could, this is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Snowy savings on right now, 4 weeks free plus free cancellation. Sentinel.ca to find a location nearest you. This is the Hangout live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. We got Marc Majeau from the MCTV podcast. We got Tom Gazzola, Jay Milne, Iwanyk with you here on the Hangout. While you get there, I'm going to take down the window.
Oh, sure. And maybe you should make that Hangout headlines.
Yeah, I don't have Hangout headlines right now, but we'll get to that.
The amount of alcohol liquor
Yeah.
we have in this office is concerning because, it's not getting used.
No, it's not. You're concerned that it's not being drank.
I'm not concerned that it's not being. I'm concerned with the. Christmas was very good to EST.
The beer took a big hit. Thank you to Nick from Grizzly Paw for restocking us today, by the way.
Yeah,
Huge.
I guess the amount of hard liquor that's in here.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that would take us years to drink.
That bottle, Penner's Pancakes. by
There's
Bacardi.
pancakes.
Zach DeCum was looking at that. He's like, how long do you think it'll take us to drink all of that? And I'm like, oh my God, I can't even think about all the booze
If we
drank
took
at
that
Christmas.
to like the Nasty Bash,
Done in an
we'd
hour.
be done. We could finish
Yes.
that.
Yeah, easily.
Do you think Fergie's prostate would let us
No.
bring?
Outside, no.
No.
That's true.
So then we have to take it where? To the Estes?
That might
Uh,
not even be allowed.
There's various things.
You guys have your Bondspiel coming up, right?
We got the Bondspiel coming. There's
Bondspiel.
things. We'll figure things out. The Funspiel, actually, I
Hey,
think
can
I'm
you-
sold out.
Oh my
Promise,
gosh,
like
are
I'm
you
almost sold
seriously?
out. I've got to just confirm with a couple people.
Wow.
But
I had two people message on the River Cree inbox yesterday during our show. When does it open up? Because if you're not a Nasty Club member,
Nasty Club members got a priority.
so it's gone.
I think it might. I have to double check with a couple of things, and I got some emails this morning. I got to go through. Right now, I think maybe there's a team open.
Is there any pros that are signed up?
Like, what do you mean by pros?
Pros,
Like
professional curlers.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I feel like I know enough about curling. I haven't seen a name pop up, which is also
Trying to
nice.
think. I'm
Gonna work
trying.
the phones now?
I'm trying. I've got somebody in mind that we'll see
Carrick Martin?
For who?
for the EST team.
We got too many people. Are
What
you
if-
coming?
But if you get a ringer, like,
I think I will.
Good
Okay.
point.
I think I
Yeah.
will.
with all due respect to the
So-
EST team,
I don't know. I
but
gotta
if you get-
talk.
yeah.
I
We
gotta
gotta-
talk because
highlight our
that's
team
a
with,
family day weekend.
Anchor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was maybe a discussion about heading to the Marmot.
Can
for the
you
weekend.
guys should get like Mr. Burns' softball team. Just get
Oh.
a bunch of ringers. Get
Yeah.
like Mark Kennedy.
Mark
get every
Kennedy,
local curler in
Yeah.
here.
Mark Kennedy. We did mention it to him when he was on the Reed Wilkins show
Okay,
that this is in the works, and he's like, "Let me know."
great. guy,
Apparently,
that Mark
Colin
Kennedy.
Ellerslie, who's a listener, Colin Ellerslie, who's no longer in Ellerslie, is a curler.
Well, Mike, the Michigan fan, he's got a team in, and he's a curler, I believe.
Dustin with a Y asking if his team made it in.
Yeah. No, I've Rip City got it. I got to.
Okay.
I'll connect with everyone because people still have to pay for some of the teams, but I've got the registrations in, and the EST Funspiel presented by Lloyd's Insurance Brokers. Very excited to have them on board for the event. No, it's his team's in, and I think Mike the Michigan fan's in though. Well, like I know he's in. I got his team. I got his. I think it's the money too, but like I think he's a curler. I think he curls from out of Duke or something like that.
He must live that way because he did say he went to Nisku Glass for a new windshield this morning, and they gave him 10% off
Because he's a nasty.
Nasty.
I want to say this for the fun spiel because like I enjoy curling, like it's fun, and I'm the reigning champ of the Oilers alumni Bondspiel.
Ooh.
Yeah. I will happily forego my spot in the lineup.
Well, we could rotate. people.
Yeah. And because I just want to be there. I love the vibe.
Oh yeah.
Gavin and Angela and the crew at Shamrock are fantastic. I just want to be there and have a good time. Yeah, maybe I'll throw a stone or two, but
They're quick games.
Yeah.
Everyone's guaranteed a minimum of 4 games. They're about 3 ends per game.
Yeah.
So nice, max 50 minutes per game. So
That's good.
we're gonna get through some games here, but it's not like you're gonna have to play a bunch of 6-enders.
I want to mingle that day. That's what I want to do.
Lloyd Sad came on as
Insurance
a
brokers.
presenting sponsor.
Yes.
And who else came on?
We have a dinner sponsor. The dinner sponsor is Sub-Zero Mechanical.
That's awesome.
Lloyd Sad, Sub-Zero Mechanical, and then there's still sheet
I've got ice sponsorships. If you're interested in any sort of sponsorships, we've got rink sponsorships. So if you want a rink for your sponsor,
it's like $250, but you're going to get a lot of exposure from it.
Message me, matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. But I think I'm pretty much booked up for it. Maybe
That's
on
fantastic.
Monday or Tuesday, I'll be able to like, I got a spot open or something.
Boy, the
I gotta go
nasties sure come out.
They
hey?
really
they
do,
man.
It's gonna be it'll be a fun time, and it is it's on the registration form, it's on the website, it's all of those where it does say Canada US is playing 4 nations. Just be aware of that. I will work my best I can. I'll have to connect with Gavin, see if we could just put up some TVs in the like just some stands and put up a couple TVs, and if we could pump the audio, and we'll
Somebody
have
just needs
Canada
to
US
bring
going.
like a projector and the screen, and then have
just
it.
got a little
Gager
projector.
has one
But I was
somewhere,
thinking even like I have my office TV. I might have to take the EST
I don't think that you need to do that. I
and
think
one more,
there's-
but like
there's
set up
better
like
ways.
3 TVs by each rink,
Yeah.
like one at one end corner, one at the other corner, one in the middle, and then just pump the audio and boom, play it.
I love Canadians, but the fact that we're talking about a curling Bondspiel and making sure we have TVs to watch a hockey game, I think we are kind of leaning into the stereotype just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Doesn't get much more Canadian.
No, but I appreciate it though. I do appreciate
I'm
that.
okay
You
with
keep
it.
your grubby hands off the ESTV.
If I need a TV, I'm taking the TV.
It's not your TV. That's the ESTV. That is
sorry,
hashtag TV for Reed.
right? But were the first 3 things EST?
Well, you're not the CEO.
Yeah, I'm the COO, operating officer.
Just don't touch it.
I might have to.
Fight.
I might need to take it. I'm sorry.
Just leave it alone.
It might be.
We couldn't
used.
get the Oilers game on yesterday.
You
Why
guys
not?
had it on
TV.
after.
We did, Brendan.
Why didn't you have it
Brandon
on?
figured it out.
It wasn't connecting. And then, now he's Brendan. With moves like that, Brendan came through and did it.
You have issues with technology?
Major.
Okay, good to know. I do need to get
Major.
to this. Frank Saravalli of Daily Faceoff. Oilers say Evander Kane underwent knee surgery in Edmonton on Thursday. It's unrelated to September's abdominal surgery, but team says it will cause him to pause the rehab in the meantime. Expected recovery from the knee surgeon portion is 4 to 8 weeks, which takes us to mid-March at the 2-week point. Then what for the abdominal? Question mark. Frank asks.
Well, as I reported or said on Oil Stream last week, after having a conversation or two with some people around the rink, no one knows where his status is at right now. And this just adds to that. And no one knows when he's actually going to come back.
I'm going to assume that that's not a good thing.
No, not a good thing.
Who's responsible for that? Is it Evander and his team?
Like what
his
was
camp?
he? Yeah, was he like
Like is the team?
dancing on New Year's and tweaked his knee or
Well,
what?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was just told
Yeah, like
we don't know where he's at. If he's ahead of schedule, on schedule, behind schedule, doesn't sound like we're getting a lot of information on their side of things. If he's on schedule, where he's at, like it was just a lot of like, don't know, can't really pin down when he's going to be
Could
back.
I say, could this be a ploy all around?
Maybe.
Because maybe Evander Kane needed a little small thing for knee surgery.
You
So
ever
they
heard
were,
of Mark Stone?
well, that's my point here. Like, so the Oilers are going plausible deniability here, where everything that they're messaging is to tell everyone is we have no idea what's going on with Evander.
And that
This
might be a
this
ploy.
guy, we can't get a hold of him, we can't deal with. But behind the scenes, okay, Evander, you needed that little knee surgery. Okay, let's plan this for January. That will delay your rehab. And then you're not back until game 1 of the playoffs, baby.
You know what?
You know?
That's actually best case scenario.
Oh, and that's why, as you're saying that, because last week you were saying that and we're talking about, but now it just hit me. Maybe this is just a whole ploy where they could be like, no, we honestly didn't know what was going on. Now we got this surgery. Well, we're going to deal with this. The rehab's postponed. Oh, like what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do? We just can't get a hold of this guy.
And it's like, oh, we have $5.25 million to spend and go big at the deadline. Look at that.
Yeah, there's a playbook for that, right? Over the last couple of years.
Yep.
With the Vegas Golden Knights.
Scratch out the Golden Knights logo.
I don't think this is similar to Sheldon Surrey in a hospital room by himself,
yeah,
right?
No,
I don't
it's
think
not
so.
like that. Not at all.
But yeah, that's not great news, or maybe it is.
This is great
I'm not
news.
sure.
I
actually
give them the
agree
cap
with-
space.
yeah,
give
I
them the
think so.
I got upset with the Oilers 2 years ago when Evander Kane got cut in the wrist in Lightning. I went on air with Dave and Lowtide the next day, and I said he should not be back till playoffs. The Oilers, we knew that year needed a defenseman. I was like, go get a forward right now, or go get your defenseman right now. At the deadline, go get a forward, and Evander Kane can come back for playoffs. Play the game.
Yep.
Play the damn game that the Lightning and the Golden Knights have set up for everyone else. Play it. And now finally the Oilers are learning from their lessons. You know what the Lightning and the Golden Knights did when they played those games?
Won Stanley Cups.
They won Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
They won some cups. Go play the game.
Yep.
So when there is a work stoppage, something like that will likely be brought up in the CBA, it's fair to say.
Yes, 2026, the next CBA. Although apparently negotiations are already about to commence, which is a good sign. Yeah.
Even though Bettman was supposed to do his last CBA 4 CBAs ago or whatever.
Hey, he's making that cheddar.
Making a lot of dough.
Just don't put it on a hamburger.
I closed the poll.
It's over?
When I did
CNN
close
projected?
it was 85% cheeseburger, 14%. Well, that math doesn't add up. But
Sure does not.
15% hamburger.
It's probably 85.7 and 14.3.
Yeah. So it was 78 votes. It was the projection had to come in.
I love it.
It was 10% precincts have reported, but we knew the numbers were going one way.
Based off last
Based
poll.
off everything, the decision desk went, Reed, you're wrong.
EST can declare
Yeah.
cheeseburgers.
Well done.
Cheeseburgers over hamburgers. Thank you for tuning in. Next time we just need a wall.
That's the problem though with talking about food, especially a
You get hungry.
succulent, tasty cheeseburger. It just makes you want to eat a cheeseburger right now.
Yeah.
I've been debating going to A&W for all week.
I went the other day.
Yeah.
What are you gonna
Fantastic.
get?
I'm a big fan of, okay, so now maybe this leads into this, the Uncle Burger, but you need the bacon and the
bacon Uncle
cheese.
Burger.
And you need the cheese on it.
Yes,
You need the cheese and the bacon.
It puts the team burger to shame.
I remember when they launched that. I was working at Sears at Kingsway at the time, and I'd always go to A&W and pick that up for an entire week. It was delicious.
Reminds me of at Earl's. They had a better cheddar bacon burger or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't bring up Earl's with Dusty.
What?
There is a chicken sandwich that they took off, or chicken.
Oh, the
thing.
blackened chicken.
Yeah,
thing?
That was really
they
good.
took off, and he's just devastated by that.
Well, that's
Still to this day.
one of 5 places he would probably go in the entire world, and they took it off his menu.
Him and I went
Really?
this week to Earl's, and
He's a blackened chicken guy.
Yeah.
But is he
You
a
and
picky
him
eater?
went to Earl's?
Yeah, we had to just
Super
have a
picky.
quick little chat about something,
Oh, yeah.
and he was like, they took away my chicken, and he still brought it up.
Yeah.
I think I'm aware, Dusty.
I didn't know he was a picky eater.
Yeah, Majeau didn't know. Dusty's-
What?
I didn't know
Oh,
Dusty
he
was
is the pickiest.
Really?
Yes.
Oh no, he's
actually
awful.
did not know. Really? Did
My
not know.
parents brought some pierogies for the Ukrainians put here,
So good.
and he wasn't going to eat it
Really?
until her nan's like, "It's potato, dude. That's all it is."
Wow. That's tough.
Your mom is an excellent cook. You want to talk about good cook? Your mom. Last year it was Italian. This year it was Ukrainian. It was delicious.
Well, this year it was my dad and I as well.
Oh,
I'll
you
just throw that out
you
there.
and Roman did
I
great
did some
too.
of the.
Yes,
I
yes.
made the dough. I made. Oh,
Good work, Matthew.
oh, thank you. I actually made really good dough on New Year's Day. Really good dough for pierogi making. I was impressed with my own work.
It was humming here this morning. You
Yeah.
should have seen the last couple days before the Christmas break. People were in and out, picking stuff up, coming by for a beverage. That was a good time.
Dropping off cookies.
Oh
and
yeah,
assorted dessert bars.
Wow.
just a really good vibe.
The first time I came, you guys have been on the air for a year and a half now.
Yeah, September 6th,
Give or take.
23.
Yeah.
The first time I came in, there was one person maybe there, and then today there was 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah.
And more kind of coming and going. Not
Yeah.
bad. Guys need a bouncer at the front.
I know. Well,
We do need a some sort of a reception.
we've had people
greeter.
offer too.
Yeah.
It's
There is a security guard
maybe
at Bell
Brendan.
Media.
That could be his, morning job, his reception, afternoon job, his
Not bad.
production assistant.
There was a security guard at Bell Media
What?
that
And
was
it's anything.
rather chatty. Do you
Yeah.
remember
Oh, yes.
So when you remember working the super early morning shift on the Saturday or the Sunday, he was bored, obviously. But if he caught you not working, he would then sit with you for 45 minutes.
You're stuck with him.
And wouldn't talk with you. He would just talk at you, basically, for
I know.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
One time he caught me with my feet up reading a newspaper, and I think he stayed the duration of the 3-hour shift. So I wonder if he's available.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I don't know.
Lovely guy, nice enough guy.
I agree.
But one where it's like, we could do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Please continue yours. I got to get back to mine right
I'm
away.
listening to the Lutheran Hour right now. Can we please keep it moving?
The Lutheran Hour.
Ah, yes.
Some of those Sunday morning shifts that I don't miss those, but it was a certain time in your life, right? When you get there at like 6 a.m.
We'd have the fish oil people.
Oh, yep.
We had Brent Bullis and the Money Show.
Yep. Some of those early
Brent,
morning
2
shifts.
minutes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what we ran on Sundays if it wasn't pre and post game for football or hockey.
I'm sure it changed later, but it was infomercials till about 10 o'clock, and then the Money Show from 10 to 10:30, and then we go to National
Well, Money Show
coverage.
was an hour for a
man.
while. So religion was, I think, 7 till 8
I
was
remember
religion.
seeing the religion hour on the schedule
Yeah.
and being like, we have a religion hour on our station?
And it would be like, if one episode like didn't air properly or it started 15 minutes late, I'd get an email on it because they would message like somebody didn't hear this. Like people listen like of those.
Well, that
choirs
is
and
God's
stuff.
day.
Well, and it was like, and we'd like, so if it was off by like 10 minutes or something, or so we had some sort of screw up overnight.
Yeah.
I heard about it. And it's like, okay, I got to deal with this. Then I think, so that was 7 till 8. I think 8 till 9 was the Money Show. And then 9 till 10 always was rotated. Saturdays was for a period of time. I think it was like about 6 to 10 at one point was the biggest where we had full infomercials of things.
Just straight up.
Purity
yeah.
Products. That's what the company
there it
was.
is.
Purity Products. And they would rotate what was playing.
I remember She
Purity
Got Game.
Products have.
And then when Belzy and I started Hello Hockey, I think we led into She Got Game.
Because were you guys tend to know? Because Pipeline Show.
Pipeline Show. Yeah, we were
I
9
forgot.
to 11. And then when we brought the show here to EST, we went 10 to noon.
Yeah, but I remember my first regular shift at 1260 was because Matt did both. You did Saturday and Sundays.
For a long time. For
And
about a year, I did both.
Yeah, and then you gave one of those to me, and I think we split the other one. But yeah, those
I
Sunday
think
morning
Doug
shifts,
took some of them too.
some
at some
of those
point.
Sunday mornings, man.
Oh, FM News 101 KXL, wherever this is, they've got Purity Products
There we
6
go.
to 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings. You can still find them.
Perfect. I've looking for some
iSpot
new
Thought
fish oil.
TV, the Krill Omega 50 Plus. Oh, yeah, those were something else.
Oh yeah, whatever you had to do to keep a station afloat. Hey, back in the day.
My
that
goodness.
yeah, Religion Hour stayed until the very end. It was very
looks
rare.
Like you didn't sell enough Purity Products, boys.
Well, we actually cut back over the years.
Maybe you should have kept the religion hour around.
Religion never left. Religion was one till the end. Like
EST should have a
it was-
religion hour in honor of the religion hour.
It was very
They can
rare
buy
for
the
us
airtime.
to kill the religion hour. It was like World Hockey Championships. If Canada played for like a bronze, I'd have to mess them. Like, we're not doing religion today. Like, sorry. Canada's in a bronze medal game. We're a sports station. We're airing that. I think I had to do it for the World Cup, but it was very rare. I'd have to like message him like, yeah, we're going to not have the religion hour. And they'd always be like, well, could we play it at a different time? I was like, well, no, we're not going to do it in like noon.
We're bumping the morning show on Monday. Sorry, Dusty.
yeah.
This is the EST Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your quick choice for Edmonton sports. Reminder, we got Lock Shop coming up today, Oil Stream, EST Afternoons, and the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Hello Hockey tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
10, yeah.
And Oilers are 5 tomorrow?
Yeah.
What time? They're 5 tomorrow?
We're live on
So 4
location,
o'clock.
Boston Pizza Westgate, if anyone wants to come down. I'll be there. Hernan's coming after the pregame show. Mai from Whale and the Wolf.
Ooh.
And Lieutenant Eric will also be there. And then the BP guys, you know what it's like doing shows on. Of
course.
You've done a lot of live on location stuff. The giveaways are great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, jerseys up for grabs. The boys at BP Westgate do a lot of hoodies,
Awesome.
a lot of team gear, and they also have a golf simulator.
Really?
Speaking of golf simulators,
Yeah.
they have the Coors Light golf simulator, $20 an hour, so great rate, right in the lounge, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, I have found when you're doing a show, it can be a little tricky if you're out of your element. However, if you're at a great location, like I'm assuming BP's Westgate
It's
is, it makes
fantastic.
it so much easier.
Yeah.
Like I've done shows in good places and bad places, and
Yeah.
trust me, the good places make it go a lot easier when it makes sense to be there.
Yeah,
that's fun.
You're right, and it adds to the ambiance, and like you can hear some stuff. Like I know we put this on YouTube so you can watch it too. And actually, we have a really nice setup where you can see what's going on in the lounge.
Perfect.
And then and if you get that good vibe and that ambiance,
That's awesome.
I find it adds another layer to the show.
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Isn't that where you guys discovered YouTube Trev?
Yes,
Or he wasn't there.
It's a different Boston Pizza.
Different
Pizza,
Boston Pizza.
Kingsway.
but you were
Kingsway,
in a
yeah.
Boston Pizza, and he was in the chat. Right?
Exactly. Yes, when Oil Stream, Two Guys and a Goalie, and Lock Shop were just podcasts. We had the deal with BP to do it there once a month, same thing like we have now. And YouTube, we did a night podcast, and
Wasn't he working?
he was working, but he asked for
scheduled
that
himself.
shift.
He asked for that later shift.
And he came by and he talked. And actually, on that episode, I called him Travis
Oh,
because I couldn't remember his name. I was
I
like, thanks to
remember that.
Travis. And he ended up chatting with us for a good like half hour after. And we're like, this kid's good. And Dusty took his number down. And
the rest is history.
yeah, when crap went down at 1260 and we started EST and turned those podcasts into full length shows, talked to Maddie, run it through the filter. And Matthew said, yeah, that guy's all right.
Perfect.
Did I get run through the filter? You?
I think you would have to. Had to.
I would love to see the transcript from that conversation that Dusty had with.
Well, the
Maddie.
very first time you came in, you brought muffins. Or was
Oh,
it
yeah,
donuts?
I remember that.
It was donuts then muffins, or was
Yeah,
it muffins
yeah.
then donuts?
It's a way to make a great first impression.
Well,
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
I knew what I was doing.
Feed the guys
believe
and they'll be
after you
happy.
left, I was like, that guy's cool. I like that guy.
I don't. No, sorry.
Oh, no, Dusty's like, yeah, I told you. And I was like, I had no idea.
I want to say this while everyone is watching. Jay's been awesome in his new role. I know
He's
we already
excellent.
chatted about the CFL, what he's done with the Reed Wilkins show, but watching him jump into those press conferences, you sound like a pro. Man.
Oh.
For someone who's just jumped into this, you're really, really good. I want
Mark.
people to know that. Like, it's been
Thank you.
awesome to watch it. So there's been like no training wheels whatsoever. So keep it up, man.
They got torn off, man. It was like Forrest Gump running, and those shackles came off the
That's fair.
ankles, and I was running.
Jay,
Thank
jump
you.
right
That
in.
means a lot.
Everyone
coming from
thinks
you.
this job is easy until you actually have to sit down and do it for a while, right? And it's
It's like I talked to my wife, and like I said it even last night on my way home from watching my oldest daughter get absolutely destroyed on the basketball court by a much better team. We were just talking about life because she took it hard, and I said, okay, you know what? You should be pissed off right now. It's okay. Like, get it out, but get it out, and then throw it away.
flush it, baby.
You
Yep.
got to be gone with that. Like, it's fat, and she did. I was so proud of her. Like, she had a great game. She played very well. It's just a better opponent. They're a really good squad. You're gonna lose in life. It's how you handle that will define you. And then I was like, we were just talking about life, and I said, like, look at me. Look at my, like, I'm living in a dream. I live in a dream world. Like, can you believe I get to go and talk about sports every day, and that's my job? I'm like, like, it was kind of one of those aha moments to me too. And I talk about this a lot, and I'm not just saying I'm not doing this as a bit. I really truly mean this. I talk a lot about just how lucky I am, and one day we'll go and do a deep dive on this. But the how this all came together, and how the steps that were laid out, and it makes me believe there's somebody out there looking out for me because it came
Simulation.
together. Simulation.
Matthew is a computer.
The way it all came together, it's just so strange. And even like I'm a big believer in putting things out there into the world, and saying things. If you want them to happen, well, you got to think about it. You got to dream for those things. And the way this came together and the exact details of it, because as you guys know, I also handle the sales and marketing here, and that was a big part of me. That's who I have been since I was 12, was growing up in a family business that was based on sales. I love that. So to be able to fulfill my dream of becoming a broadcaster, and yet still be able to handle and have those relationships and partnerships in the sales world, it's strange. Because like both those things were on my vision board of things that I wanted to try and achieve in my new career. To have them all come together like this in one bundle is almost surreal. It's hard to believe.
It's like the.
But I really appreciate you saying that.
No
it means
worries,
a lot
man.
coming from you.
No, it's like the lyric from the Talking Heads, right? How did I get here? It feels a lot that way.
Talking Heads, that is so weird. Speaking of reels, I was just scrolling through some reels and they had there was I don't know how, but I got onto a Talking Threads or Talking Heads. Those guys were great live.
Unbelievable, man.
Like just so quirky and just unique.
The video, is it David Byrne?
Yeah.
Yeah, of him in the oversized suit doing the knee swivel thing.
Yeah.
Kept popping up for a little while.
What song was that?
Life During Wartime.
Yeah.
This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This
Yeah.
ain't no fooling around.
So we've now, I don't know if I can say this. Anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about.
we're gonna play that as the intro song today on the Reed
call.
Wilkins Show. We've been unshackled a little bit as far
Oh,
as
you could say well, yeah, you'll play music.
we're trying to play,
There's nothing.
dabble some music into the shows, other than God Bless Will and the Wolf. But we played Sloan, Money City Maniacs the other day, and the chat went off the charts off the start. Do you think Sloan is one of the most? I wouldn't say underrated, but Sloan was big.
I think they have a higher approval rating than you would think.
Yes,
I think is how I would describe
That's a great
Sloan.
way to describe it.
Like, I don't know if there's a lot of diehard Sloan fans out there, but I think a lot of people really like Sloan. And the song you mentioned, yes, that's a way to get the party going.
That's an epic intro.
It
on
is.
this
It is.
song.
It's
With the
very.
sirens.
Yeah.
As far as underrated bands of all time, I will die on this hill. April Wine. Honestly, put April Wine into YouTube and click their top 10 songs. You'll know all of them, and you'll be like, "What? This is April Wine?" Yeah.
I'm just glad you didn't say Gowan.
Who's Gowan? What's Gowan?
I think he was the lead singer for Styx.
One
briefly.
of those bands
Yeah.
had a solo career.
Yeah.
I remember there was a box of discarded radio singles at 12, and it was free taken. And I think there was probably about half a dozen Gowans in there.
I remember Jillian Foote being like, I am such a big Gowan fan. He was my crush growing up. And I'm like, who the hell's Gowan? I had to look it up. And it was like, oh, this guy. What was the one song? It's like,
Was it You Can Call Me Gowan or something like that?
yeah, but Gowan, he had one that's like Animal Nature. Or,
Oh, jeez.
Gowan. I'll look it up here.
While you're looking that up,
Criminal Mind.
Bears Pandas, are they home this weekend?
No, they're on the road in Lethbridge. Basketball, yes.
When's the next home?
Next
sked?
weekend. Next weekend, the 17th and 18th, if my math is correct.
And who they got?
I'd have to check that one. I know they're in Lethbridge this weekend. Pandas are off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, they are.
The Pandas can... I confidently can say the Pandas can go toe-to-toe defensively with any team in the nation.
Wow.
They can hold any team to under 60 points. It's a struggle for the Pandas to get to 61 points from time to time.
Wow.
And the Golden Bears on the hoop side, going through, I don't want to say it's a rebuild, but they've been such a dominant program for years and years and years that it's just a bit of a dip. And I don't expect them to be down for very long. I still think the Golden Bears are a playoff team in Canada West. But it's not maybe the domination. It's not the 14, 15 wins that we've grown accustomed to with that program.
Well, speaking of, giving your flowers, I'll give you yours, because your guys' broadcast that you do with Doug McLean is outstanding. We watch every weekend of Bears and Pandas basketball. It's so good. The broadcast quality of Canada West TV is exceptional.
It is.
And even more so at Saville Center. I wanted to ask you, the Dinos were in town, and they laid a beat down on the Bears, as they should. They're a strong squad. And you interviewed a player, I can't remember his name, after the game.
Yeah.
Exceptional. The guy can talk. Why is Epcor calling me? Oh boy. Did I pay my bill? Yeah, I did. Yeah. He spoke about your guys' broadcast,
yes.
and he said did that take you by surprise?
It did. He said basically, you guys are, I watch all the road games. And
Yeah.
You guys are, it took me back because you never realized who's actually watching those games.
Yeah.
Doug and I always talk about how we're doing it for a lot of friends and family, right? A lot of family that was watching their kids, their nieces, their nephews, their grandkids, whatsoever. But I think because the Saville Center and the crew at the U of A does such a good job. I do think Alberta is, I can say this, I think one of the best Canada West broadcasts. So it took us, kind of took us a step back. And I think it took me a second to form my question after that because it was surprising. But yeah, you really never know who's watching. And
here's the star player of the UFC men's basketball team coming up, being interviewed, player of the game kind of thing. Hey, and he's like, I just want you guys to know that I watch all of our games and your guys' broadcast is by far and away the best.
Well done.
that's
That's coming from a player.
Yeah, that's
So
around.
that's-
Like you don't get that a lot.
I was
really
just like, I got goosebumps listening to it because I was like, wow, that's probably the highest accolade you could get from somebody.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, what you said about me was great. It means so much. Ro Nelson on yesterday's show kind of asked a similar question to that, and I was like, holy smokes, like that it hits you because I remember in the early stages of meeting with Reed and like coming together with Reed, and he gave me not a handbook, but it was like 2 pages, and it was pretty much like, I have it in my briefcase today, and I look at it at least once or twice a week, and it's just little simple thoughts about broadcasting. And one of them was like, you don't know who's listening and why they're listening and what they need. So essentially it's like, you have to give it your best. If you have issues outside of this bubble, you can't keep them. Yeah. You have to keep them separate. And just little tidbits on, people listen because they like to listen to you. Mm-hmm. So let them hear you, and that was to me about your guys' broadcast was like about the best you can get.
Thanks, man.
Somebody coming up and like a player. Yeah. No. I thought that was neat because that's the other thing. If I guess we're doing the deep dive of Jay Milne right now, but that's where I got. Well, I'd always wanted to do broadcasting well before, and then the opportunity came up for me to be the color commentator for Bears football broadcasts. And who was the play-by-play guy? Well, it was a young, new, fresh Dustin Nielsen. And so him and I go way back. And those are that was like the closest I got to like fulfilling my broadcast career. So that's when.
Well, if that doesn't happen, you don't get to this.
Right.
Because you don't know Dustin.
Yeah, we were trying to
Dustin.
put together this in the infancy of it. And that was for the Hangout too.
We're thinking of people for the Hangout.
Yep. And Dusty's like, well, you got to get Jay Milne in here. And we're like,
who's Jay Milne?
Yeah, but okay. And he's like, U of A football, did color with me on the broadcast. And we're like, yeah, okay, bring him in. I
still remember the day that he texted me about what's going on. And I'm like, yes, I'm in. Yeah. Like that was, to me, I called my wife right away. I'm like, you won't believe it. Like that's how excited I was. And now to know where it's come from there and the things that have it's honestly is
you got to pinch yourself kind of stuff. That's very cool.
But it is a crazy
because you don't want to wake up.
I'll pinch you.
Or that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The official drink of the EST Hangout, it is the Finnish long drink legend in 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment, real liquor. Longdrink.com/Canada is where you can go to enter your postal code and find a location nearest you. We only got like 15.
Who's
20.
that remind you of when he does that?
David Letterman.
Yeah. Okay, good.
You need the you need the glass smashing when he throws it.
Yeah, right.
And then you need
have a
double-sided eraser pencil.
Oh, yeah.
Letterman always had that one, I think it was. NFL weekend, playoffs.
Yes.
We haven't gotten into that.
Oh, man.
Do you guys see any real upsets coming?
Okay, because there's 5 games. So
Steelers,
one of these will be an upset.
Okay, Chargers at the Texans. The Chargers are the favorite in this one.
Which is, can I just say, that is the most Saturday afternoon playoff game
100%.
that ever existed.
Houston hosts a playoff game. It's Saturday at 2.
The first one, baby.
It's in the bylaw somewhere.
It is. Yes.
You got Ravens home to the Steelers.
Yep.
Ravens 9.5-point favorites. You got Bills home to the Broncos. Broncos 8.5. Actually, I should go check what CoolBet has because they're always a little bit different. Eagles 5-point favorites over the Packers. Bucks 3-point favorites over the Commanders. Vikings 3-point favorites against the Rams.
Which is a neutral site game now.
Which is going to Arizona. Which
is it official now?
Yeah, the NFL announced it yesterday. As thoughts, everything that's going on in LA. Yeah. Obviously, homes lost. JJ Redick's house lost. Steve Kerr's mom's house, I think, was lost. Like a bunch of homes lost. So obviously, there's bigger issues to deal with. Mm-hmm. But for the Rams, they lose out on that home field advantage because of everything. So that changes the thoughts. I had the Rams possibly winning that football game. Now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, the neutral site is a little. it's certainly.
I don't think Rams fans are traveling to Arizona for two reasons. One, because there is a fire and people are still looking after their homes. And two, LA's not that big of a Rams city.
Agreed.
Viking fans will travel.
Yeah.
Agreed. And there's enough time that they can rearrange their travel accommodations, get their tickets.
This has been the game that everybody's circled as the this could be the one, the upset game. And I don't think it will be. I think the Vikings are going to assert themselves in this game, get back to that run pass option game that they have had success with. Recency bias would suggest from last week's matchup against Detroit that this is a fraudulent team. I called them frauds on Monday.
Their red zone efficiency was awful the other day.
And they have Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And you know all about Sam
Darnold. Yes, yeah, sure.
Familiar with his game.
So I think that the Vikings will come out in this game. I think they will show up. The game that I question the most, all of these are who shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Commanders could upset the Bucks.
That's the one I would go with. I can't believe the Commanders aren't the favorites.
They could if Washington can if Washington could mitigate Tampa Bay's run game and make Baker beat you with their arm, they will win because Baker won't beat them with his arm. The game that I think is the one that's really who shows up is the Packers and the Eagles.
Yeah.
I see upset written all over this game. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, I believe, has been practicing.
Yeah, he was a full go yesterday.
That's the X factor here.
Yeah.
Is who shows up. What version of Jalen Hurts do we get? Saquon Barkley, you know what he's going to do, right? But Jordan Love and that Packers offense can do some damage. Josh Jacobs is a beast. If he gets going, I could see this being the game that it throws everything off. See you, Troy. Have a great day.
Godfather.
Okay. I think people should be looking at the Steelers too for the upset. And I speak as a Ravens fan.
Upset?
Yes.
Yeah,
The cover,
Lamar
sure.
only
No.
has the one win against
This-
the Ravens.
the
in his
recent one.
career.
Recent
I think
I
you're
can't
dead
believe
wrong
it.
on this.
And
I
this-
think
and
this
maybe
is
this
just
is
because
just-
you're a protective Ravens
Yeah,
fan.
maybe this might, but
And you have history with
yeah,
this, with
the
these
thing is
matchups.
though, when Ravens and the Steelers meet, it's always close. I don't care where they are in the standings. They could be a year where the Ravens are low and the Steelers are great, vice versa. They're equal. These games are generally always extremely close. And it's one of those situations. It's the rivalry game. We talk about Michigan, Ohio State. I could see the Ravens dropping the ball in this. The Ravens have a history, and this isn't a Lamar thing. This is a Ravens history where they have their years where they go on their runs, but they also have their years where they blow it in the first game. You know, they were number 1 seed a couple years ago, and they lost after the bye week to the Tennessee Titans, at home. Should have won that game. This is one where I sit there, and as a Ravens fan, I am terrible. Like, I need a comfortable lead at half to feel good about that one. I think 10 is, like, cover for sure. Steelers are covering 10 points. I feel really confident. So that's one. But it may be just I'm that Ravens fan.
I think you're very protective of your knowledge of this matchup.
This rivalry.
Yeah.
Is clouding your vision of the the powerhouse that Baltimore is.
Tomlin has the slight edge over Harbaugh lifetime in their coaching matchup. Like, I could see the Ravens have penalty issues.
Zay Flowers being out is also a big deal for Baltimore.
Yes. So that's one where actually I could see, like, if we're talking on Monday, oh my God, the Steelers are moving on. It's one I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3 names. Well, 3 first and last names. Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson. Ding, 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 ding. Derrick Henry. Ding, 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 ding. You've got a
Steelers won the first game this year.
Doesn't matter. Don't you fret your little heart, Matt. Don't worry.
Because I like that. I'm on the Commanders all the way.
I'm just just happy that the Commanders are at this place and that Jaden Daniels is who Commanders fans thought they drafted. Not sure we can say the same as Caleb Williams right now in Buffalo, albeit I think Caleb Williams is going to be a star.
I think so.
Like he just needs some better better staff around him.
Unfortunately, the Bears with Caleb Williams, they probably should have made a coaching change last year. Like, it's so hard. You almost essentially wasted a year of Caleb Williams.
Yeah, great way to put it.
By turfing Matt Eberflus halfway through the season. I do think he'll be good. But to your point about Jaden Daniels, it is really cool to watch that franchise get back to respectability, because Washington, really for the most for most of my lifetime, I know they had success in the early 90s and what, but haven't really been good. And for me, my lasting image of Washington is RG3 tearing his knee at the playoff game. Like that's what
Dallas
I think.
Cowboys.
Yeah, but that's
the wonky knee picture.
Yeah, like that's what I think about with Washington. So when they get Snyder out, I also didn't think Dan Quinn was a particularly inspired hire, but he's done the job. Jaden Daniels has been unbelievable, and it's been really cool to watch that team get to a point where I hope my team eventually gets to.
Well,
be like,
and a lot of credit here goes to Cliff Kingsbury as well, the offensive coordinator.
I'm
was a
baffled
bit of,
to hear that.
Right.
He's a great OC.
You,
He's not a head
would
coach.
know, Tom. He's not a Cardinals guy.
Awful head coach.
He's doing
Even with
his
Texas
job.
Tech.
And particularly if you look at his track record with young quarterbacks, right? And what he did in Arizona, right? He's got a really good track record with grooming young quarterbacks. But Jaden Daniels is just electric. I mean, but there's still it's still like you're watching an infant just learn to walk, and it's like take your time. It's okay.
But looking at all the games this weekend, outside of Bills Broncos, I think they all should be relatively close, entertaining football games.
Agreed. Like we already talked Packers Eagles, but I think we all forget Week 1 was one of the best games of the season. It was in Brazil, so I think maybe that's why we don't talk about it that much. But that was an incredible game. I think
Texans Chargers, I think, is going to be a close game.
I totally agree.
You still got Stroud with the Texans. I know they got their injuries, but they're the home team. I've made it why Ravens Steelers. It's always generally always close. What other game are we missing there? We had Commanders, Bucks, Vikings, Rams, Packers, Eagles. Yeah, I guess like Bills should roll.
They
the
should.
Broncos.
They should. But honestly, I was so wrong about the Broncos with Sean Payton and with Bo Nix. The fact that they were able to get to double-digit wins.
Wow, and they came out extremely slow out of the gates. I mean, that Bo Nix interception compilation was exceptional.
It took a while.
He's turned around though.
And should have beat the Chiefs.
Those
Should've beat the
jerseys
Chiefs.
that Buffalo or that Denver wears, those
The old school ones?
no, they're like the matte blue helmet and the matte blue stripe on their arm on the white jersey. Those are elite.
Oh, the new ones.
Elite jerseys. If you're a Broncos fan, put it on your wish list. That is probably the sweetest jersey going.
It's a nice one, yeah.
I am a little biased. The Commanders jerseys are tight.
It's great colors.
They're great colors. They had that great, you know what? In the FCS championship game, that was a great color matchup.
Oh, it was.
That was North Dakota State taking on Montana State.
It was a great football game.
It was.
That was exciting from like
very good.
Montana State with that nice comeback and all there. So we got NFL this weekend. I do got to bring up this. I forgot to mention it earlier. Lieutenant Eric in the Nasty Chat. Have you brought up Leeds United run in the championship yet?
I appreciate Eric bringing that up.
Of
Champo
course.
football, baby. We're in top spot right now.
53 points. I had at
53.
one point. I've had a Burnley and Sheffield United.
And Sheffield has 2 points that have been deducted for financial chicane.
Did they?
So Sheffield should be in the top spot. Leeds
They lost it.
Yeah, exactly. It's been Champo football is fun to watch.
Do you have it? Like you are watching it?
I am. Well,
what is
no,
it
I-
under?
So
Fubo or is
it's on DAZN.
Is it DAZN?
But not every game is available.
Yeah.
So basically, you get 3 or 4 games per week. Like when you watch Premier League, I do think there are probably the bottom half of the table are completely fine to draw 0-0 and just get their point and move on. But Champo guys are going for it. So you'll see some 2-0s, some 3-0s. It's been fun. Leeds, I'm hoping to get promoted back up. But following football, whatever you want to call it, for the last few years, getting promoted is not a simple 1-year trajectory. The 3 teams that went up last year, likely the 3 teams going down this year.
It's more often than not that happens.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest has gone onto a nice run where they got promoted and they've done well. They're actually sitting in the top 4 spot of the Premier League, which has been an incredible run for them.
I didn't want to bring this up, but like your Man U team,
It's awful.
They're 14th, I think, in the table.
And the issue is, so they made their managerial change. Eric Ten Hag out, Ruben Amorim in, but Ruben Amorim plays a certain formation, and they don't have the players for that formation. And Ruben was like, "I will come at the end of the season. Let me finish at Porto, then I'll come." And Man U was like, "No, we want you now, now or never." And he's like,
pushing the
"Okay,
money.
I'll come now." And they're playing, and it's like, yeah, these players don't fit this system, so they're stuck with this until the summer when they could replace players. And he's even talking to Ruben Amorim like, "We're in a relegation battle type thing," which is like ridiculous to hear.
It is.
So it's just a mess. It's defeating.
Yes.
But we get Arsenal this weekend in an FA Cup, I think on Sunday. I'll watch it. I'll get angry. I'll swear. As long as they don't get promoted or relegated, which they shouldn't.
So
but it is a lot of fun. Leeds getting promoted.
If
I can
they do,
imagine.
so Leeds a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago, had the full takeover by the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, they take
So
over.
it's a full takeover.
Jed York
now.
and stuff.
Yeah. So the Niners now run leads. So there's a ton of dough behind them. If they get up, you got to stay up because that yo-yo will kill you, right? If you just keep going up and down. It's hard to sign players, hard to keep coaches. It's hard that. So it's kind of like a 5-year mission, really.
When you get promoted, it's like 200 million or something. Like there's a lot of money that's involved with it. But when you get relegated, players want to go.
Yeah.
Contracts are different. It's wild. And well, with that, I know there's a lot of people that follow like Wrexham. Like,
And they're supposed to go up again, right?
in the lower stage, it's hard. Like it can get easy going up. Right now, Wrexham sits third in the table, which I think is worthy of playoff. They'd be in a playoff to go there.
So Wrexham, I was going to ask you about them.
They're one lower than
Yeah,
championship.
they're in the third
So
division.
if they get this and get promoted, they'd be in championship next year.
And they're on their path to it.
Well, my thing would be, I'm very intrigued how they would do in championship. Like
Yeah.
it was a quick couple promotions to get there.
Yeah.
But now you're going up against some teams that have been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
That just got relegated, that are pissed off, but have some of that extra finances from being in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And they will go back up likely. And it's like, okay, how are you going to do against them? How are you going to do? So that's what would make it fun. I had a physics teacher who was like cheered for Sheffield Wednesday, so I always have a soft spot for them.
Oh, yeah?
They're 10th in the championship right now.
Yeah,
them.
Sheffield, both their clubs had a rough year last year. Wednesday and Sheffield United.
Wednesday often gets relegated from league and goes a league lower. Cardiff's in relegation.
Wednesday is a team.
Sheffield Wednesday.
That's
Sheffield
what's
Wednesday.
blowing my mind. Their name is Wednesday.
Ty Detling.
Oh,
Ty
really?
Jordan. He's a Cardiff guy.
Really? No
yeah,
way.
So he's going to watch his team get relegated
But
possibly.
That's what is wild about watching some of these teams is you're like, where is Wycombe? Like, what? Where am I talking? And I imagine it would be like a young American hockey fan growing up in the 90s, like, what's a Quebec Nordique? I once heard an interview with Colin Hanks,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks' son. He's a big LA Kings fan. But he talked about growing up, how, like, I don't, like, what is Winnipeg? Like, what are these cities I've never heard of? Football is awesome. Both
Eric-
with your feet and with your hands.
Well, Eric and I were
Yes.
talking recently. Like it's getting just with the way FIFA's running, like the top leagues and all this stuff, and they're changing so much. It's like losing the passion's going away. Like the essence of the sport is going away. The spirit of it. It's almost worth just going find a team that's lower and watching them now. Maybe Sheffield Wednesday will be the team I'll jump on. Watch what they do. They won't get promoted anytime like to the Premier League, I think, ever again. But
yeah, you'll
just
get
go watch their fun soccer.
you'll get probably half a dozen games on DAZN. So you can still follow.
Should go get a jersey of Sheffield Wednesday.
It's fun. Sports are awesome. Like
Yeah.
surprise everyone.
Especially when the money's not
Weird.
fully involved with it and
Yeah.
like it's not getting ruined by FIFA wanting to do the Club World Cup and like they're just playing ridiculous amounts of soccer.
You feel like, I think Eric actually mentioned this to me a couple months ago. It's going to get to a point where rather than rooting for teams, you'll just be rooting for billionaires because they own.
Well, there'll be the Fenway Sports Group,
Yeah.
which has these teams, and like, well, Citigroup has a bunch of soccer teams across the world, and that'll just be all it
Like
is.
Stan Kroenke's Rams. Is he Arsenal?
Rams, Arsenal, Nuggets,
yeah.
Avs.
Yeah, like it's just
trying
going to
to
be
remember what
that.
else he has, but then they'll all like own like there'll be those people that own 5 soccer teams in England, Spain, Germany, Brazil, MLS, all that. And you're like, hey, cool. So I'm that fan, and I will follow all those teams.
Yeah.
Stan Kroenke has an apartment in Ball Arena, formerly Pepsi Center. And apparently there's a helicopter landing pad, or there was, for him. And he would just like fly in, fly out for games, and he could just live there.
Must be nice.
That's crazy. When I heard that, I was like, what?
We just got a couple minutes. What's coming up on MCTV
So
in the next little while?
Yeah, 2025 is a great year for movies. 24, maybe not the best year. I feel like that was still probably the effects of the writer's strike in late 2023. A lot of stuff got pushed. But in 25, we're
Got a
going.
question.
Yeah, we're going back to kind of getting blockbusters back in movie theaters again. Our first Marvel movie is going to be in February, which I'm a little tepid about.
Is that Captain America?
It is.
I was going to ask what you think, because haven't they had to do a bunch of reshoots?
A lot of reshoots.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff has been filmed and then kind of scrapped.
Yeah.
So listen, reshoots happen in movies all the time, but multiple reshoots probably don't happen all the time. And Marvel's gotten into an issue of greenlighting movies and filming without really finished scripts, which is kind of a recipe for disaster from time to time. There's a lot, I don't want to say there's a lot riding on this movie, but Harrison Ford is back in movies again. Like he is in this Marvel movie. That's kind of a big deal. So that's kind of the first big one. Mission Impossible is one I'm really excited for. We getting another Superman movie in July,
Yeah.
which is going to be great. I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan, so we're getting another Fantastic Four movie, a new one that's going to be in the MCU. So basically, we're a lot of stuff coming, a lot of movies, and then TV's ramping right up again, starting in February again. So we have like White Lotus, more Disney Plus stuff coming out. Like it's
Last of Us in April.
yeah.
You're first.
Oh, I was just gonna say, where are we at with the Spider-Verse now? Because after No Way Home, there was a talk about Tobey Maguire reprising his role in some part, and then third Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and then obviously Tom Holland's now involved with the next version of his Spider-Man.
Yeah, so Spider-Man 4 has been greenlit with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
But they don't, I think they're going to start filming it in a few months. So the details have been kept under wraps.
No Venom there?
No.
Okay.
I don't think there'll be a crossover. Sony's kind of shuttered that universe with your Venoms, your Cravens, your Madam Webs.
It didn't go well.
No, didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, I think there are people that do want to see him be Spider-Man one more time.
He was great in No Way Home.
He's been asked a couple times about it, and he said, "I'm not involved with Spider-Man 4," but he also went on and said, "No one's going to believe me," because he was kind of on the front saying, "I'm not in No Way Home." Everything,
Which was awesome. Yeah.
But Spider-Man, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU. That's a really big deal. But I think Spider-Man is still one of those characters that everybody knows. So I think there's still a lot of pressure on that to pull off a movie, because where they left that version of Peter Parker, they kind of did that weird thing of rebooting at the end of a movie where they kind of left him where no one knows who he is anymore.
They kicked him, man.
Yeah.
They kicked him.
He's down. So I'm excited for that.
Friends of EST, MCTV, head to edmontonsportstalk.com. You can find MCTV. We air them Monday and Fridays.
I didn't get to
on the
ask that
station.
question.
Well, time's up. Sorry. That's 10:55. We got to wrap up the show.
Sorry, Jay,
find out
my bad.
MCTV wherever you can get your podcast, Mark. It's always great having you in. So thank you.
It's always
for coming in.
it's always a pleasure to be asked. Thank you for the invite, gentlemen. I appreciate
Lock
it.
Shop, Oil Stream, EST Afternoons, Reed Wilkins Show. That's all still to come on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. On behalf of Tommy, Majeau, Jay, Matt, thanks for tuning in. Lock Shop in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Joining us today,